Hey guys, welcome back to the Lions Tournament. Our last match before the break, where we will hopefully get to eat pizza in honor of our fallen comrades, Rip in Pieces Pizza Alliance. Next, we have Pandemic Legion versus Drunken Disorderly. Both teams bringing a bunch of Dominixes, but there is some distinct differences in these setups.
The astute will notice that the Pandemic Legion Dominic setup is a Shield Dominic setup versus the Armor Dominic setup of the Drunken Disorderly team. So we'll have to see if there's any MGDs. That had a big showing in our last Domi versus Domi match. You'll notice also some interesting support choices here. They've gone with a Gila, more drones for Pandemic Legion, and a bunch of insane tank. You can see that the rep bar for Pandemic Legion is out of control. You can also see a Rapier on the other team, and lots of Molluses going to be able to damp down whatever they can. And then once they've damped it down and brought it in, it's going to get caught by the Rapier, and it won't be able to escape the power of those Dominixes.
Having looked at the Dominixes up close for Pandemic Legion, I was thinking maybe they would have some guns on there as well. Since they have lows for more damage mods and stuff, tracking enhancers, but they don't. There's no guns on these Dominixes at all. It looks like they're Tinker Dominixes. So they've got cap transfer chain going on here with the Gila, the Vulture, the Tengu, and the Dominixes, and they're going to sit in a little ball and shoot lots of damage out. From that ball, they've already killed a Drunken Disorderly Mollusk.
There we go. What's in their lows then?
So they could have cap mods to help with regen for the cap transfer. They obviously have drone damage augs.
Yeah.
They could have things like backup clusters for ECCM.
Yeah, that's potential. We'll have to. Very interested here. Another mollusk going down.
I wonder if it's just cap mods. I mean, I don't know if that works, but it seems like, usually when you have tons of leftover damage mods, at least often you're running nanos, to make yourself go faster. This team doesn't care at all about speed. So there's not a whole lot of options, really.
Yeah.
And they should have 3 to 4, really 3 lows each that they can use for other stuff. Anyway, Drunken Disorderly getting picked apart for now. Their damage being shrugged off by those Pandemic Legion frigs.
And do you want to know what's happening to all those frigs? They're getting volleyed by sentries before the reps can land. So the Oniros is pre-repping all of the ships and still getting alpha through the reps. You'll see him. He's going to rep the other Algos now. The first Algos that gets shot on, or he's just not going to rep him, he's just given up. But he was repping all of them, and then hoping that when he could switch the rep off in time to get a second rep cycle on what was getting shot.
Wow. The other thing that's happening here is the frigs for Pandemic Legion. I don't know if this is all they do, but the frigs are in the Tinker Ball with everything else. You see them there, and that means they're pretty far away from the Drunken Disorderly sentries, which minimizes some damage. They're moving, of course, which minimizes more. And they're right there to get reps from the Tengu.
And the Tengu can't be... Before, when the Molluses were on the field, the Tengu can't be damped down to get some easy kills on those when they come out to meet something.
The other thing they can do is provide a lot of remote support for all the ships in the Pandemic Legion team. The core ships, they can give remote sensor boosting, remote ECCM to make sure that they always have locks and can always target whatever they want.
So just for our people who are not really used to the tournament, even though it looks like Pandemic Legion is in a commanding lead, and they are in a lead, they're only 16 points ahead. A single Dominix kill can recover that points for Drunken Disorderly quite easily, except the Pandemic Legion Dominixes, I suspect, are going to be quite hard to kill. I haven't actually seen them get shot yet, and I don't really know how much a Shield Dominix tanks with Vultures and Tengu support.
You know what's weird that's happening now? There's no Pandemic Legion drones on the field. So I didn't see what they were shooting things with to begin with, but they've scooped whatever drones they had out, and now they're not shooting at all.
Do you think they've just said, we've got our lead, now you make your move? The Pandemic Legion thinks EVE Online is a turn-based game of some sort? They're we killed a bunch of your frigates. Well, damage is still, damage isn't incoming to the Drunken Disorderly team. But we'll see what happens.
So the Drunken Disorderly team have guards out, and PL is moving away from them very slowly. They're, no micro warps on or anything, but they're moving further and further away, which means the damage they're taking is getting smaller and smaller. And they've just picked up their drones and left. And they have the ability now, if they want, to say, look, we've got 16 points. Come at us.
Bring it.
What are you going to do? These guys are going to have to move closer to getting damage applied, and they're probably going to have to move a lot closer to having a chance of breaking this tank.
Or potentially they're moving away because Kata L is their anchor. Kata L, the ult of Elise Randolph, and he's just taking them straight out of the arena. Very slowly. This is an interesting setup here. Drunken Disorderly has to make a move at some point, whether that's activating MJDs they may or may not have. I haven't seen them turn on
Yeah,
Micro Warp
that
Drive yet.
actually would give an option. But you can see on the velocity there, like the speed column, they're not moving much at all. Like the
Yeah.
Dominix is just sitting. And you can also see they're not doing any damage. So they have to make a big adjustment.
They have perhaps they might like so Drunken Disorderly can potentially have like something in their back pocket here. They can run the clock down, jump in, kill 17 points, and then have the match end. Like that might be the because Drunken Disorderly are not a shabby team. They're a pretty good tournament team. Like they're not going to be faffing around. They've been practicing.
I think they're stumped. I mean, I think that they would have a really hard time killing anything anyway.
So drones of some sort are out again.
PL drones?
PL is doing damage.
Yeah,
to
they
people.
just dropped bouncers and curators again.
Algos drops. So they need to do.
And you know what?
20
They're
points,
doing this
yeah.
in response to the fact that Drunken Disorderly just picked up speed. They just committed to burning towards PL. And so as they're getting closer in range, they feel fine dropping drones and just like, sitting where they're at and killing stuff on its way to them. And they're able to get more kills. They just killed one of the Algoses that was left and now the other. So
This is a new advanced form of kiteling with no prop mods. And picking up your drone. Like, they essentially PL took their ball and went home.
kiting with sentries is actually really hard. Like, it's easy. It's easier in the tournament because you never move, over really long ranges. But on TQ, when you're trying to kite with sentry drones, you end up warping away from your drones, or you end up getting too far away to pick them up. So this is definitely a different situation. But they're killing a rapier now.
We have some messaging from Drunken Disorderly and Local claiming that they started the Battle of ATXI for Pandemic Legion, a very famous battle in EVE Online that happened a few months ago, that they at least deserve a few self-destructs in return. So
literally just begging for kills.
The
I think they have
Disorderly
no
team.
idea what to do.
The Drunken Disorderly team has resorted to asking the other team to self-destruct. That is their comeback plan here. Like Pandemic Legion wiping the support and just taking their stuff and going home. That's basically their plan here. No losses, no real damage ever done to Pandemic Legion.
Yeah.
Like
they were so far from being able to do anything with this. I mean, they never did any significant damage to this really important ships, and PL were even able to keep up like that Merlin relatively easily. So,
like the thing is, like there have been wipe matches where one team clearly outclassed the other team, and this was not a match I walked into thinking like, oh yes, Pandemic Legion is clearly miles and miles ahead.
This is an interesting. I don't think it matters much now, but the Dominix piloted by S810 of Drunken Disorderly has flown into the middle of the PL team and smart bombed them. Started smart bombing all of their sentry drones.
This is when they turn it around. They've bided their time for 7 minutes with 3 minutes left on the clock.
So that's actually a pretty cool move. In response, PL picked up the sentries and dropped augmented ogres, which move. So they can just move them away from that Dominix. They moved them to another Dominix, which also smart bombed, and so now they're headed back towards the one that's sitting on top of them.
Well, at least they're doing damage to the Pandemic Legion team. Like something is getting shot here. But other than that, I think they're just going to coast for another 2 minutes and 30 seconds. They could just never drop drones. Doesn't bother them at all.
They are doing a little bit of damage to that Tengu now. That's probably the point in the setup they have to go for, but they have to deal with all the cap transfer. They won't have tons of neutralization, cap neutralization. They'll have a little bit from the Dominixes possibly. Wow, he is taking some damage.
Yeah, but there's no reps on the S810. He's probably out of range of the Onuros. The Onuros is jammed, and he's gonna go down. So he's charged into try and snatch victory from the jaws of defeat and died. That's jaws biting down on you will frequently cause you to die.
And I was actually able to lock, for some reason, one of the ogres that PL's using. And it's not going to die.
Well, that's because augmented ogres have like 3 times the health of normal ogres. They are like impossible to
And of course, Dominix is buffing their HP even more.
Yep.
So it would take quite a bit more smart bombing to get rid of these ogres. And in the meantime, Drunken Disorderly is going to keep losing ships.
Well, they had to get rid of these Dominixes because they're going to be banned out for the rest of the tournament. So they're going to drop down to the losers bracket almost certainly in 1 minute and 15 seconds. And Pandemic Legion, another one of the favorites to go really deep in the tournament and then boundary violate half their ships in a crucial match, is going to advance through the undefeated bracket. Tengu still holding just fine. Really strong performance. Like
yeah, this is another one of those matches like the Rote Capel match from yesterday, like some of the Hydra matches where it just looks like they're on another level.
Yeah.
Like where people I would just throw my hands up in the air. I mean, I don't know what you do against this. It looks really, really strong. And that's what we expect, I guess, at this point from teams like Pandemic Legion.
Yep. No overextending with the support wing. Like, they have no reason to deploy their support wing. They had complete dominance throughout the match. Never let up even an inch. Even though it wasn't a particularly exciting match, it was like a masterclass in
exactly.
bringing a really good setup. And apparently we found the counter to armor dummies. It's shield dummies.
Yeah, we get really excited about a lot of the matches that come down to the wire, but a lot of time that's because neither team is really in all that much control. It's kind of hectic. And some of these matches with really strong teams like this, you see what it looks like when, like in a way this is really exciting because like they're so good.
Yeah, so good. So seeing them fight another really good team will be amazing. That's going to be the match.
Right, that's going to come on pretty soon.
We're going to go for a short break. When we come back, we're going to see first up Scumdot versus Of Sound Mind, and these are the beginning of the losers bracket matches, the elimination matches, where we will send 16 teams home today. So make sure you tune back in just a short while. See you in a bit.